Hi, I'm Terry Lickona with Austin City Limits, back on stage at the Moody Theater in downtown Austin, coming to you live tonight with Jade Bird, who's just come off the stage after doing a fantastic show. Jade, you killed it, you and the band.
Thank you. Yeah, I am high right now. Not literally, although there is a little Willie Nelson statue outside I've seen in a secret place.
Yeah, he's been stoned out there for 10 years now. So.
Yeah, but I'm not high, promise.
That's okay. But it was a great show. How did it feel? Your debut, your first time on the ACL stage?
Like indescribable. I can't explain to you, like, live audience, like, it's what I'm all about. Like I've told you 1,000 times, like, I love playing live, and that just to me was just magic straight through and through. I can't even explain. So good.
Well, let's talk about the new album.
Yeah.
Different Kinds of Light. It's been like 2 years since your debut came out, maybe a little more than that.
Yep.
And this has been in the works for quite a while, since really before or early on in the pandemic. So, you know, a lot of album titles are just kind of random or intended to be whimsical, but I have a feeling Different Kinds of Light has a real meaning to it. What is it?
It was a premonition in, ironically, quite a dark time. So, like, you know, not ridiculously dark, but I was very, very worn out, and I was on tour, and I remember there was this one particular tour with Father John Misty and Jason Isbell, and I was listening to this song by Fleetwood Mac called Storms, and I was just listening to it over and over and over again, and somewhere in this amalgamation of this track and this time and this phase in my life, that song came out of the blue. And it was the first song off this next record, and it was just the total premonition of the next phase. So, yeah, it felt appropriate.
So it was the first song that you wrote for the record?
I think so, yeah. I always say it's Houdini because that's when I went to Upstate, but it was actually that one in matter of fact, yeah.
So what about the rest of the songs? Are some of them autobiographical, but others not so much?
Yeah, exactly right. I wanted to write less about myself on this record. I thought to grow as a writer, the best writers I love have a lot of empathy, and like I feel like with Elliott Smith or Dylan or anybody that I love, you feel like you're on the shoulder looking at someone's life instead of their own almost. So I wrote a lot about me and my partner's relationship, falling in love as a new thing, him, and like I said before, anything from the Vietnam War veteran he went and visited and came into my life via that to a friend, to anybody. It was a lot about other people, this record.
And you were very young. You were still a teenager.
Yeah.
Literally, when your first record came out, when you made your debut here at South by Southwest in Austin.
Yeah.
And 3 to 4 years may not seem like a long time to most people, but it's been quite a journey for you, and you've learned a lot in that time.
I feel like a new person. I think the pandemic's done that to a lot of us. I think we've grown and, gone into a more grassroots approach in life. I can see my family now, I can see my friends with more empathy and that, but just in general, I feel so much more mature, so much more able to enjoy moments like this. Does that make sense? I have like a lot of more clarity.
It does. And I also get a sense that from these years, 3 years of travel, and the number of people you've met, the number of experiences that you've had, has kind of introduced you to a whole new community of people who you never knew even existed, or knew how many different kinds of people there are in so many different places.
Yeah, it's like friends as well. So like tonight, for the first time since I was 18, I got to have a whole corner of this room with my friends, because I've made friends in Austin, and I can't explain to you, I don't take that for granted. Sometimes it can be quite lonely when you're often wandering, and that's the life I wanted. But coming to Austin, I feel there's a home here for me, musically and just in general. I've got my little dog and stuff now, as you know. So yeah.
But your intent originally was to sort of just settle down, hunker down, and ride out the pandemic here in Austin. And
yeah.
But after some time, it became something more special to you.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's its roots. It feels very me. I'm very happy on this side of the pond. Also creatively, I feel like I was down at the Orb Studio the other week, and I was just writing, and I just feel like I'm getting a new lease of life in that sense.
So let's talk about how your songwriting has evolved over the last 3 years, or since you first started writing. You were a young teenager back then.
Very young, yeah, 12. So. I wasn't even a teenager, yeah.
So how would you describe your songwriting and your process or your approach to writing a song now?
Writing a song. I mean, I will say, I don't like to glamorize the magic and not the discipline too much, because I feel like some people, they really, want to do it and want to know how to do songwriting and stuff, and it is a discipline. I remember watching Dolly saying, like, you have to sit down to write the song. And she personally, like, goes to a shed, and I don't think she even eats. Like, she just goes on a water diet, and she just writes. And I think a lot of it is that. We all have our magic moments where something falls down the sky, like Lottery for me, or on this record, a lot of Punchline came to me. But a lot of it is trying to dig it out, find out who I am, what I want to say. It's work at the end of the day.
What was it like meeting Dolly Parton for the first time?
Yeah, ridiculous. Like I said, she came into Newport Folk Fest, donned in a canary yellow suit, wagon wheel sequin on the back, and I messed up the handshake. My one moment. But yeah, she's a gem. She's
a saint. She's unlike, there's nobody else quite like Dolly Parton.
I agree. I mean, that's why I wanted to cover her tonight. It's again a meeting of, like Savannah, who I brought on stage. Like, it's a meeting of everything, all love and goodness, I think.
It takes a brave person to cover a Dolly Parton song, and you did it beautifully with Luke and Savannah. Yeah, I was in my garden and I was listening to Chet Atkins and Dolly's version, where she's like, "Oh, I love you, Chet." And I was just listening to it, and I just made me feel so good. I listened to it about 10 times in a row, repeat, and I wanted to bring that song into my life somehow, so yeah. So what about some of your musical influences, and especially some of the music that influenced the new album?
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of 90s British music in there, whether it's the Cocktail Twins or Smiths. Mm-hmm. Who else, and why? What is it about that?
Yeah, it was a strange one. I was chatting with someone and they said the further you are away from home, the closer sometimes you can feel. And that was the summary, I think, of making this record. I went over to Nashville, I went to RCA with Dave Cobb, who initially I thought we might be heading for a Fleetwood Mac kind of style record. Then I find out his background is like Britpop. He's in like a Britpop band when he's a teen. I'm just like, what? You Grammy Award-winning country producer, you had a Britpop career. So we just immediately started bonding on the energy of them young bands of the 90s. And just the guitar tones in particular with Luke, we picked out a lot of stuff that sounded similar to that, a lot of what we loved, and the energy, the raw energy comes from probably that is our inspiration. So yeah.
Well, everybody's anxious to turn the page on 2020, and I have a feeling 2021 is going to be the year for Jade Bird.
I hope so,
Congratulations on the new record.
Oh, Terry,
Best
thank you.
Best of luck to you. You're not even going to have time to think about this, but I'll just throw it out there. Where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now? Do you have goals that maybe you had when you started down this path, and maybe they've changed along the way, and I'm sure they will continue to?
It's really funny you say that, because I really have achieved a lot that I wanted to achieve, and I'm British, so the goals they weren't modest in my sentiment, but like they were modest goals, and now I'm having to reset them because I work really bloody hard, but I'm over in America, got a record deal, I'm playing my music, my music, not covers, my music, and so I'm having to rethink a little bit my goals.
Yeah, your bucket list got a lot of checks already.
Yeah, which is incredibly privileged, but I can't explain to you how grateful I am, because it wasn't always, sunshine and rainbows, so it's very humbling.
Well, once again, congratulations. Your band killed it.
Thank you.
You guys, there's a sound there
Phenomenal,
that I can only imagine what it's going to be like when you're out on the road for real for the next 6 months or so.
I'm so excited. Thank you, Terry. Thanks for the opportunity. It's
you bet.
Amazing.
Hope to see you again down that road. Have
Absolutely,
a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. Jade Bird from Austin City Limits here at the Moody Theater, live from Austin, Texas. Be safe and have a good night.